from the great city of Iowa City, from the headquarters of Public Access TV, and from the City Channel for the City of Iowa City channel. I would like to welcome you, our audience, our viewers, to a very, very special show tonight. The man that I'm about to introduce is Dr. Craig Hansel. I would say, I don't know how to describe him to you. He is on my right-hand side here. He's not only the Chief Financial Officer, as you have read in the introduction, but he is a Chief Operating Officer. He is the Secretary of the Board of Education. He has been wearing many, many hats, and every time in each one of these roles, he emits his vision and his creativity. And personally, after all the years that I spent in classroom, I've never been an administrator. He is. But I've been with many, many administrators throughout my life. Whether I worked in the hospital, my administrator that I thought he was excellent was John Colleton. And when I moved to the district here, I had many leaders as well. I was, at the time when I left the district, Craig Hansel came, Steve Merrily was the superintendent at the time. Both of them were the leaders that I wish I could have the chance to be in their leadership or under their leadership. Craig Hansel, you are welcome on the stage in our show. And we are so proud that we had all these years, 7 years now, you are here sitting with me, telling people about the future of our district, right? Telling them about the dreams. And you are the man of his word. Everything you said, the first meeting, you accomplished. And when you are now getting ready to start the new career, which is we call retirement, which is not really retirement for you. I'm not sure you're going to retire ever, right. But you are getting ready to say goodbye to us and to the community as a leader in our community school district. Dr. Hansel, welcome back again. And we'll start with a part that is marks your success always. Right. I mean, when you look around, when you drive around Iowa City, your fingerprints are everywhere. New schools, new facilities, right. A new facility strategic plan, right. All that are byproducts of your effort that was tireless. And you have always been relentless. And you were not talking ever about yourself, about your accomplishments. But behind the scene, and I would like everybody to hear that, you are the generator of a lot of things that happened in our school district. Thank you for everything you did.
Well, thank you. I'm humbled by your comments. And one of the reasons that I've been successful is that we've had a tremendous team in place. We have Iowa City. It holds a very special place in my heart because of the people I've been able to meet, such as you, and the individuals within the school district, our talented staff, our dedicated support staff from all across that school district. We have people that want to do great things for kids. And I just feel privileged to have been able to be a part of that. And the things that we've been able to accomplish, as you just pointed out, that was a complete team effort. I had the privilege of being out in front a lot. And that was exciting, right? But there wasn't any of those things that would have happened had it not been for that complete team effort. So my teammates, we need to congratulate them too, because we've been able to do some really remarkable things for our community. I wanted to show you a few slides as we work into our discussion tonight, and just go over some really high level types of things. One of the premier pieces of I guess, of time that I've spent in this community has been on this facility master plan, and it's been huge. I remember when we passed this facility master plan at midnight in the first board meeting in December. We actually were in the next day. We had started the board meeting the day before. We were in the next day before we actually approved the facility master plan. But that got us off and running in December of 2013. And we've been fast paced ever since. And we've been able to really make some huge improvements to the educational facilities that we have in place. Namely, we've been able to put air conditioning in our elementary buildings, and our final buildings, which will be West and City High, will be starting here shortly. So let me go through this list, Hani, and I'll not spend a long time with it, but I just wanted to give your viewers and our viewers here in Iowa City an opportunity to see what we've gotten done. So if we could pull up the first slide, and we'll go on from there. We'll pull up the first one with all the buildings on it. And yes, it is cold outside tonight. But,
in March.
Yeah, we're in March and it's still really, really cold. But I wanted to talk about the facility master plan, a little bit about Pearls, and a little bit about our budget, and then we can transition into some other things. But here's a slide that I wanted everyone to see up front. We've completed these projects. We've completed nearly $141 million worth of educational facility improvements under the one penny, okay? And what a gift that is for this community, that when we go and buy things and we have that one penny that's tacked on to our sales tax, it really counts up. And we've been able to put this all back into good use for our students. And we've made these wonderful improvements. Then if you go to the next slide, we'll have the PEPL projects. This is our physical plant and equipment levy. It's another funding source that we have in place that the community has voted for us for a period through 2025. And we spent a little over $18 million there. One of the big pieces of that is the transitional schoolhouse. And that's where we were able to buy some portables, and we were able to put those in places at different locations, empty out part of the building, do those renovations, bring those kids back, and it's really worked out just really terrific. Dwayne Van Hemert, he's the mastermind behind our facility master plan. I work directly with Dwayne in a supervisory capacity, but he's just absolutely phenomenal. He was the talent behind all of this transition and the phasing and all those kind of things.
He's a warrior.
He is a warrior, and he is a worker, and he is just brilliant when it comes to that.
Proud veteran too.
Yes, he is, absolutely, from the Navy. Our next slide, we have some work in progress, and you can see up there we have nearly $76 million worth of projects we're doing right now as we speak. That's just huge. Building a new elementary up north, and we emptied out Mann and Lincoln, the entire buildings, and sent them off to the new Hoover building over here, and those buildings will be ready to go this coming school year. And we're just so excited and so proud of what we've been able to accomplish with these projects. And then what's the future hold? So the next slide, we'll see the projects coming up this spring. You can see Grantwood Elementary there in the middle of that pack. We just took bids, Hani, and the bids came in $1 million below budget. And we're just so excited about these projects. You can see that our premier high schools, along with Liberty, we have City and West. We're going to finish up those projects this year, and really terrific plans in place for those buildings. I hope they invite me back to see them when they're finished, because I'll be really, really excited to see the finished product. And our high schools will be air conditioned for the first time ever. And so we'll be able to hold classes on those really hot days now. And then finally, the facility master plan projects that we're going to finish up with in the spring of 20. And then that'll complete this facility master plan. So if we go to the next slide, it's a summary page. And you can see that under the 1 penny, we spent about 141 million. Under the physical plant and equipment levy, a little over 18. And of course, the general obligation bonds, we have as about 196 million at this point in time. So the total facility master plan is a little over $750 million, Hani, and that's just a huge investment in this community and for our kids. One of the things that I'm particularly proud of on the next slide is this factor. Financial strength is important when you're doing this much work this fast. We have in Iowa City a AAA bond rating, and because of financial decisions that have been made over the past several years, we've been able to maintain that AAA bond rating. And when investors came in and they bought our bonds, they paid us over and above what the bonds actually cost, a premium of over $8.3 million to date, because they want to hold our bonds because they're so valuable, they're so good, they're so high quality, they want to hold those. And so they paid us more money, and we're just going to take that money and we're going to put it right back into the facilities for our kids. But that's what's really special about a good financial planning and having all of those pieces in place. So that's one of those fun facts I'm particularly proud of. That's really our facility master plan in a nutshell, Hani. Do you have any questions on that, or?
Well, I think it's you explained it the best way. I don't have anything that's ambiguous or unclear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's go on to the next concept that I wanted to really run by our community, and this is PEARL. PEARL is a simple little property tax. It's 13.5 cents, but PEARL can do some amazing things. It's the Public Education and Recreation Levy. And for Iowa City, because of our wonderful tax base, it would generate about $850,000 a year. So what can we do with that? On the next slide, we have some of the things that our committee, and when we put our PEARL committee together in 2014 and looked at this for the first time, here are the things that you're able to do with PEARL. But one of the things we've been running up against, Hani, is that our community really wants their playgrounds to be accessible. And in order to do that, we have to have that rubber surface material. It's really, really expensive.
Very.
And so in order to make our play equipment and all of our playground equipment handicapped accessible for that accessibility component, we have to have that rubber component in place on certain places in our playground. And this PEARL will help us achieve that goal. Mm-hmm. And I know that's important to this community. And so this is something that our board is considering right now. They had a conversation at the last board meeting, and the community will probably hear more about these things. There's a great opportunity to partner with our municipal partners in before and after school programming and preschool programming and things like that. We have yet to figure out what all that looks like, but I just wanted to kind of introduce this to the community this evening, because this is something that I think is some really, really important that we need to really have a great conversation about and flesh out, because I can think it would do great things for our school district. And then finally, I wanted to talk a little bit on the next slide about our budget, Hani. One of the things that really points out on this slide is that our legislators this year gave us 2.06% growth, but it's only the third largest supplemental growth that we've had in our budget in the last 10 years, if you can believe that. We have been for the lack of a better word, really strangled for resources.
That's right.
And we've had to really tighten the old belt. And we've been very fortunate in this community where we've had growth, and so that's softened these low allowable growth amounts. But even at 2.06, it's going to be a difficult year, and we're having to cut the budget this year. So on the next slide, here's some things that just wanted to point out. Our growth, although it's 206, is not all that large, okay? Right. Historically, our expenditures run at about 3%. 84% of our costs in the school district are made up of personnel costs, and 75% of those personnel costs are in the form of our teachers. So we really do put our priorities in the classroom, okay? We put our money in the classroom. That's exactly where the vast majority of our money go. But unfortunately, when you're in a position to cut the budget, that's the place you have to go in order to recover costs, because that's where we spend our money, which is appropriate for an educational institution, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So our final budget is just some wrap up and reflections. I just wanted to give you that high look, you know, that 50,000 foot level this year on the budget. And I just wanted you to just know that even in a tight year like we're in this year, where we have to cut over $5 million from our budget, we're doing the very best we can to make that not impact this classroom as much as possible, right? And so we're trying to find money where we're transferring it from other sources. We're did the early retirement to try and incent some folks out of the organization that are a little higher costs, and then replace them with lower costs. Right. Although, you know, you lose all that expertise yeah. and that training in the classroom. But we're trying to do this as humanely as possible without having to do RIFs and things like that. We might have to come down to that. There might be a few folks that will have to let go in this process, but we're feeling really good about where we're at right now and in this process. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I had planned for us this evening.
Well, this was a very amazing synopsis and summary that very well understood. Even I, who know nothing about money and all this terminology, I understood every word that you said.
Well, thank you.
And that's actually when before I prepare this production, I go to our previous years and listen to them. Mm-hmm. And I remember every time you come, you kind of enlighten me about something I didn't know about, you know. So thank you, because I understood everything. And I'm sure that the audience know more than me, so they probably understood everything too. I mean,
we have a very educated audience,
I know.
As you well know. They're very informed, and they track things very well. So.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, we are on the crossroads,
mm-hmm.
right? You have accomplished, can I say that you have accomplished everything you wanted for this, despite all the hurdles, despite all the obstacles, despite all the things that hinder your dreams, you were able to do something about it. I remember you were just like a magician. A couple of years ago, you were standing alone, reminding me of John the Baptist in the wilderness. I mean, they were like deaf ears, especially in the legislative branch. I'm not going to name parts of our government that were not cooperative or not supportive, but you were fighting for the education system, fighting for the classroom, fighting mm-hmm. for the teachers and all that. Are you tired after that? Are you exhausted?
I am, Hani. I told my wife, I love what I do, and I've had a wonderful career, and I couldn't have been more blessed honestly. But I'm tired. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And you get to a point, and in a school district like Iowa City, things come at you. I was telling her it's kind of like a fire hose, and they turn it on you when you walk in the door in the morning, and you drink a little, but most of it hits you and splatters off. That's the pace at which all of these things come at you each and every day. And you get to a point where it wears you down, it wears you out, it really exhausts you. And I know our teachers feel a little of that, and I know our support staff feel a little of that as well. It's not unique to my position. My colleagues, the superintendent, our board puts in hours and hours to go through board documents that are 400 pages long for one meeting, Hani. We just have so much stuff. But it's the teamwork and it's the talented people around you that you really rely on. And I've just been so blessed in that regard. So we've been able to accomplish a lot. I have worked hard on behalf of the students here. And I hope that the legacy that we're able to leave is one that we've really improved on a great system that was already in place when I stepped in here. And we'll leave it better than we found it, and we'll leave it in very capable hands. And I think that's what our true desire is.
One of the things that you told me on this stage 7 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
that and you were coming with already a background of 30 years, I think,
Right.
in education administration and running shows bigger even than this,
Right.
than this one. So you were confident that when I asked you how hopeful you are regarding the community and the support, and you said that you can sense this from day one, that
Yes.
this is a very good community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and I asked you if you're planning to stay for a long time. And at that moment, I didn't imagine that you were going to complete your career here.
Right.
So is there one night that you felt triumphant and you felt joyful throughout these 7 years in Iowa City, something that happened that really fulfilled all your dreams? And
Yeah.
another night that you were not happy
Yeah.
at all?
Well, just know that when I stepped into this community, I did bring with me a career in doing exactly what Iowa City has asked me to do. And so when I came here, I felt the community and its support. And they showed that by passing this bond referendum, right? And it was just, I think that night when the bond passed, to allow us to finish what we had started on behalf of the kids, I really believe that kind of put the capstone on this plan. And it validated all of the work, all of the preparation that's gone into the planning and the implementation of making our facilities that much more improved for our kids and their learning environment. So I look at that as one of those moments when we all came together as a community and we did it as a team. We will all benefit from that. We really will.
So let's skip the sad night then.
Right.
And because I need to wrap this up, it's painful for me because I'm not going to invite you next year because you're going to tell me how we're doing without you. So I
Okay.
would like to invite John Karhoff and Michael Peterson to stand here so that people know who are the people that worked with you for 7 years in
Absolutely.
this program, and to be on the camera because it's always me. but I want the unknown soldier, this young man that's behind the glass door, to come over and be here for 1 second. And but I would like to introduce you to the audience too, because what we have done here, we have to. This is not a farewell to our friend, but it is an appreciation for everything he has done, and an appreciation for everything
Absolutely.
you have done too. So
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
that's
Mike.
John Karhoff and Michael Peterson, the two people behind the success of this program for many, many decades.
They've been wonderful to work with.
Yeah.
And when I came in here, Hani, I'd never done a TV program before, as you well know.
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, it'll be okay, it'll be okay." And they've calmed my nerves every time I've come in.
Yeah,
so
they are.
they're
Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you for everything. There are no words are enough to show our appreciation.
Well, thank you.
To you.
You're very kind.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate
Thank
it.
you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Hani.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wrap up and say good night from the great city of Iowa City, and I promise you, Dr. Hansel will be our guest next year to tell us bird's eye view, as we say in art, how he sees our district doing. Thank you, and have a very good night from Iowa City, from the headquarters of Public Access TV. Thanks to Dr. G and to Sujat Singh and all the team that are working with us throughout